Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our multi-page forms workshop. My name is Ryan Clancy, and joining us here today is my colleague who's going to be hosting this workshop with me, Matt Homeback. How are you doing today, Matt?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you, Ryan?
I am doing awesome. You ready to get started and to show show everyone here how we can work with these awesome forms?
I sure am.
Excellent, excellent. Let's go ahead and get started here. And Matt and I have a little roadmap here of what we have planned. So what we are going to take a look at here today, folks, is we're going to go in and we're going to start by showing how you can go in and how you can get logged in to your account on your school's website. What we're then going to do is we're going to see a really cool live example of a multi-page form. So one of the great benefits of a multi-page form is this. It's going to take those longer forms, such as student registration forms, and it really allows you to split them up into bite-sized pieces, which is pretty cool, I think. Don't you think that's a good thing, Matt?
Yes, it is, Ryan.
Excellent, excellent. And then we're going to go on a behind-the-scenes tour of the forms module, and at that time, Matt is going to show us the steps that are involved with building a form. We're going to go in and see how we can add pages and split that up into different sections. And we're going to also have a chance to see how we go in and we can set the form up for drafts as well. So especially for those longer forms, so the student registration forms, employment applications, anything such as that, that's going to be really, really key. Now, please remember that this is a live workshop, so please feel free to go in and to ask any questions that you have. And in between the demonstrations, we are going to be giving you some time to go in and to create a form of your very own. We'll wrap up our training session by going in and taking a look and talking about how you can reach out to our tech support team and also discuss other helpful resources that we have available to you here at EduNet as well. Now remember to ask questions. All you want to go ahead and do is just want to type your questions in the chat box that's located on the right-hand side of your screen. And then myself and Matt, we are going to be happy to go in and to help with those questions. All right, everyone. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Now, Forms does something I think that all of us want to go ahead and we want to do. We want to go in and to be able to cut back on paperwork, especially over the past year as our learning processes have changed. This has become even more important. The great thing about Forms is that it allows us to go in and allows parents and students to fill out important information and turn it in online as well. Now, what we're going to do here first, everyone, is I want to go ahead and give you a few minutes to get logged into your account on the website. Now, what's really cool is we have an all-new CMS, and with it, a new way that you can get logged in. So you don't even have to go to a separate admin site anymore, which is really neat. What you want to go ahead and do to get logged into your account is if you're going in and you're using a PC, you want to start by double clicking the control key on your keyboard. Whereas if you're using a Mac, you want to go in, you want to double click the command key. So I go in and I double click the command key. We'll give that another try. There we go. And I have this login window appear here. Also, once you go in and you pull this up, if you need to reset your password, that is not a problem. All you do is you click Forgot Password. And from here, what you're going to do, you'll type in either your username or your email address. And what happens is you're going to be sent a password reset email that's going to contain both your username and a temporary password. So let's go ahead, everybody. Let's take 3 minutes to get logged in. And if you have any questions or need help with logging in, just go ahead and let us know, and we're going to be happy to help. All right, everyone, let's go ahead and get started. So I just go in, I'm going to log in. So remember to log in, you're double clicking that control key or that command key. There we go. Now, even though we are on the live site, we have logged into our CMS that we use to edit the site. Now, let's take a look at the forms through the eyes of a parent or student here. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to start by going in and locating that form. So let's say that we want to look at our senior class trip to Thrill Mountain. Now, what's great about this here is we've taken a longer form and we've gone ahead and made it into those bite-sized pieces. So it makes it easier. I'll say this, I think, Matt, when you have a shorter form like this, I think it definitely makes it less intimidating as well, especially for something such as a student registration form or anything such as that. So what we've gone ahead and done with this one here is we've broken this up into student information, parent or guardian's information, and parents and students can go ahead and click this here and go to the different sections, which is really nice. Also, what's really cool, and something that I would say perhaps is even more important, is now you can go in and save a form as a draft as well. So this is key here. So it allows someone to go ahead and come back, and you can set a time limit for that. That they can go in and go back and edit that particular form as well. So that's something that's really cool. One thing else you're noticing, you have these red numbers here. These are very important here because those are kind of a reminder of the remaining fields that need to be filled in. So if someone skips a field, they'll see a number there. Once it's completed, it'll be also, they won't see that there, but that's just something important to note. And what's very cool, if you're looking to be able to cut back on paperwork, you can actually accept credit card payments through your form as well. So that's perfect for something like this, for a field trip permission slip like this here. So this is what parents and students will see. Question is, what will we see as website admins? What we would do here to go in and to view this is we go into our CMS. And on our new CMS, where Forms is going to be located is you just want to go in, you want to click on the hamburger button, you want to go to Operations, and then from here what you want to go in and do is you want to select Forms. Now, when we go in and we look at that particular form, so let's see, senior class trip to Thrill Mountain. To view information about that, a couple things. So we see a course where we can go in and we can view submissions for the form. So the nice thing is about the forms module, it takes the information that parents and students turn in, and it gives you a digital location on your website to be able to go in and to store that. It's a cool way to be able to cut back on filing cabinets, which is always a good thing. So we would be able to go in and view the individual form submission through this here. Also, though, we can go in and we have our settings here. So you got a lot of cool options with this here. And this is a form that has quite a few of those as well. Some key ones for this particular workshop that this has is that it has the option to enable draft submissions for that. So that's pretty cool. So someone needs, if they need to go back and finish that form later on, that allows them to be able to go in and to be able to do that as well. And what's really cool, so if maybe a grade level is planning a grade-wide field trip, you can go ahead and set up notifications for your staff members as well. That way, if parents go in and they select, in this case, homeroom teacher is Clancy on this form, this individual, so actually myself, would go in and receive that email. It's actually a complete copy of that form. So that there's something that's pretty cool. All right, everyone. So now that we've seen some of the cool options that we are going to be able to use for the Forms module, it is time for us to go ahead and get started. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to present my colleague. Everyone put your hands together, be just a moment, for Matt.
Hello, everyone. Did the screen, can everyone see my screen?
Looks good. Looks good, Matt.
Perfect. All right, so we're going to come down here and I'm going to walk you through how to add in the pages to the form. So let's go over here back to our little button here. We're going to come to operations and back into forms. And we're just going to create a very general form, kind of like that field trip form. So what we do is we would come down to we'd scroll down to the bottom here and we would create a new form. And we would just give this form a title. We'll just say this is we'll just say the 8th grade field trip. If I could spell today. Okay, here we go. 8th grade field trip. We can also give it a description. We can give it the form status. It can be active or active over a certain duration, depending on what you, if there's a like a cutoff line or a cutoff date or time for someone to register to use this form for this field trip. You could set that up through here. If you click on that, it's just going to give you a start time and an end time. I'm just going to go with active. The managers feature is it's really good to allow to give access to the submissions and things to specific users, but you have to keep in mind that only an admin for the website can set this up. So once the admin sets it up or does the steps that we're doing now, they can choose a manager from the list of users. I'm just going to give a teacher the option to edit here. And then you also have this option for after submission where you can choose the option. You can redirect to another page or you can just show a confirmation message, which is going to be here below in this box. The next thing you're going to notice is you can do the enable credit card charges. So if we wanted to, we could charge for this field trip right on this form, and we can do that right here. If you were to click on that, it'll give you the option to choose your merchant account. You can choose a fixed price and add it all in right here, or you could do calculate from form if there was some other way that you wanted to do that. We're just going to set it up generally here for a fixed because we're going to do a field trip, and we're just going to say that this is going to cost us $10.
Sounds good.
And then you're going to see that it says it accepts the types of credit cards, and you can, it has to accept Visa and MasterCard. You don't have to just do Discover or American Express. Allow updates after form submission. You're not going to be able to do that since this is collecting money. And we want to always make sure that we have the CAPTCHA on here. And then these are just some other options for secure over the server since we're going to be doing that since we're going to be charging for a fee. You need to have that on there. You could also limit the number of submissions that are available for this field trip if you only have so much room on your bus and you might have, multiple grade levels or something like that going. You could choose to limit the submissions here and they could put in a max number and then you could put in a message for what you would like it to say once that number has been reached. We're just going to leave that as is for now. You can also have this send a copy to the user's email. So if I click on it now, it's going to tell me that I don't have an email field inside of my form, which we can always come back after we set up our form and set this up and enable this option. So that way you can send a submission of this, whatever is submitted on the form to the user's email address based on what the information they put into the email field. Now, right here is the new feature for the enable draft submissions for the amount of days that you want to pick here. And I believe it goes up to 90, but once you have that checked, what's going to happen is they'll have the option to save a draft of the form that'll be sent to their email so that they can come back and finish it at some other point. Maybe the form requires some sort of documentation that would need to be added, say, just using this as a reference, like vaccination records or anything like that, or allergies form or something like that the student would need to submit so that it's on record. But I'm just going to go ahead now and save this form. Oh, I need to add myself as a manager too. It worked. Okay. So now that we're in the form editor, it's very easy to use. All you need to do is just drag and drop the information over here, and then what I'm going to do first is show you what happens if we do it all on one big long form, and then so you can see how intimidating it can be. And then we're going to come back in, and then we're going to make it so that this will be able to be parsed through pages, and you can see how that works. So we're just going to just a couple of lines here and there on information that you might need to collect from the users for this field trip. So we're going to shake this. That was a single line text. And if you just click on it, you're going to bring you into the editor where we're going to go with just put the student's first name. I'm just going to say first name for right now. And we want to make this a required field, and we just want to click update. We're going to also bring in another field just so we can put in last name as well. We're going to make that required as well. We're going to save that. So, and then just so you guys can see how I'm going to do this later, I'm just going to put in some section headers so that we know what the section's going to be called, and we're going to call this student information. And then if you need some help test, or if you want this for internal use only, you can just update it here. And we're going to do student email as well. So everything is basically drag and drop. So you have your options here, which I can go through if we need to. Like a multi-line text would be if a user would need it, you need the input from a user that's going to be like a question, and you need them to answer it based off of whatever the user would like to write. Otherwise, you have a checkbox which you can drag in, and then it'll allow you to choose multiple options. The radio button is going to function similar to the checkbox, except the radio button is meant for you to choose only one item out of that out of the options there. And a drop down would be a drop down list of options that you want to use. I'm trying to think of an example that where they could there's an option inside of it. I'll just drag it in for right now, and we can just say we'll just call this like homeroom teacher.
That sounds good, because then you could set it up for the notifications too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to do. Homeroom teacher, and then we got some options. All right. Well, I'm just going to do first names. This is all just general, but you get the point. We'll just get one more option here. And then this is going to be a required field as well, so we know which homeroom teacher they're selecting. And this is what I was talking about with this, where you can allow the user to choose more than one option. That's always an option here too, but we're really only going to want to use one, so we're just going to leave that as is. But you do have the option where if they were to hold, I believe it's shift, they could select as many options as they'd like out of the drop-down menu. But we're just going to do this for demonstration purposes. I'm going to update that. I'm also going to put in the student email field, which would be email here. We're just going to call this student email. Student email, we want to make sure that's required as well. We're going to update that. So now we have basically all the students' information that we need. Now we're going to get into the parents' information. So I'm just going to drag in another header. And we're going to call this parent information. We're going to save that. And then just like we did before, you can just drag in the single line text here. You can drag in as fast as you want. We're going to also do email. I'm just going to change these quick. Another thing too you could do if you're really good with our system is you could click this little icon right here, and it's going to duplicate this field. And then basically you can drag and drop that down here so you don't have to, it'll cut down on some typing for you. Let me just delete this. We're not going to use that anymore. And we can just come in here and we can edit this. And then we can update that. And then email, we want to make sure that we put it in here that we want the parent's email specifically, just so we don't get anything confused. We're going to update that. So now we have our student information and our parent information, and now maybe we just need to, get some payment information, which we're just going to drag in another header. right here. We're going to click on that. We're going to call this payment in parent information. We're going to save that. And now we're just going to drag in, let me see here. I remember what we're going to do. Is it dollar amount? Let me go here. No, actually, we don't even need to do that because we are going to be using the other. We're just going to need credit card information actually, which is going to bring up that all the payment information that's going to be used for the credit card. I guess it kind of already put a header on there, but we're good. And just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to save this. We're just going to preview the form as is, as a single page form. So we're just going to click on preview form. And now you're going to see that all the information came in as on one form here. So the cool thing we can do now with the new module is we can add the pages in here and set those up that way. So let's go back into our form here. And what we can do is go with the page title here. We just want to drag that underneath the header. And this is gonna, why did it put that? Did it put 2 on there? Okay, that's why. Okay, put 2 on there. We need to put this right there. Okay, so here we're gonna click on this. We're gonna go. So what this does is this lets us know that this is going to be the student information. I believe it has to go below it. Ryan, is that correct? I'm trying to remember. Is it below?
I think with once you have the page in there, you won't. I don't think you'll need the headers. So I think you can actually probably just remove the section headers out of there.
Oh, okay. I'll just remove those after we get these set up, so we can just go.
That sounds good.
Here. Make sure we're going to update that, and then we're going to come down here and do one last thing, which is going to be our payment information. We're going to update those. And like Ryan said, we can delete the headers. We don't actually need those. Those are just for placeholders. So let me just delete this one. Let's delete this. Click the delete button there. And then we can get rid of, well, I can't get rid of that. We got to get rid of this. Okay. All right, now we're going to save our form again. And if we were to come back over to the preview and refresh this, what you're going to notice is this created all those categories on the left-hand side here. And you can see when we click on them, the information that needs to be updated on each one of those pages.